everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I'm so happy to be here with you as always. This is my favorite time, is when I get to craft with my peeps, and I'm so grateful to have you on my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you'll get notifications of when I go live. So I hope that you will enjoy this video. We are going to start with the oranges. We're using the Sweet Citrus bundle, and this bundle is a hybrid bundle, which means you get a stamp set, you get an embossing folder, and a set of dies. So it's a set of 3. Instead of normally you just get dies and a stamp set, the hybrids have embossing folders that go with them. But the cool thing about the embossing folder is that it fits with the dies. So let's talk about that a little bit first. So when you purchase this little set of 4 here fits in this embossing folder. So I'm going to show you how that works. And so you are going to attach this right here into your embossing folder, like so. When you close this up and you run it through with a piece of paper inside, it will also emboss and die cut your pieces. So you'll get both at the same time. So I am going to show you how that works, and we'll start with the lemon because lemons are just, you know, that's really the premise for this set, but we're gonna work on it with the lemon. So let me grab a scrap piece of basic white cardstock and I'll show you how it works. All right, let's see, I need to trim this cardstock down. A good 4x4 piece works really well. So let me go and we'll do 4. We don't really even need 4. Let's see, how much do we need? Yeah, let's just go 4 just to be safe and I don't have to scrimp. Okay, so we're gonna cut this down to 4x4. All right, that should be enough to cover that. That's great. So the embossing folder works just like a regular embossing folder. So if you want to just get this embossed background, you just don't put the dies inside and you run it through your die cut machine the same way. It is a 3D embossing folder, so you have to use your gray number 4 plate if you're using the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But let's go ahead and let me show you how to work this. So we're gonna take our Daffodil Delight, that's gonna be the outside of our lemons. And then we're going to take, the stamp is a set of 4, it all comes together. As you can see, it's joined here, and you put it all on your block the same way. Now, one thing that I wanna caution you is when you put it on your block, you want to make sure that when you pull it, you just set it down on a surface. You don't try and stretch it and put it on your block because you're going to get it warped. It's this photopolymer and it does stretch. So what you want to do is when you pull it off, I'll do that for you just to show you. See how it stretches when I pull this? And you could stretch this and it's not the right shape. So what you want to do is once you have it off of your case, out of your case, you want to just set it on a flat surface and just let it do its thing. And then you want to take your block and you want to figure out, you know, how you want to place it on your block. And this looks good to me. And then you're going to pick it up like that. That way you don't have any stretching and the shape is the correct shape. So then, since this is such a large block, I like to take my ink pad and put it to the surface rather than the other way around. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ink this up in Daffodil. All right. Because the outside of the lemon, right, is always a little darker than the inside of the lemon. So we're gonna go ahead and place this onto our 4x4 piece, and I'm just gonna try and center it, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm gonna give it a little press and make sure that it's nice and pressed down. So there's our lemon and our rinds. So that's what that stamps, okay? So let's clean this and then we'll move on to the next stamp. So then there's another stamp, and it's a set of 3 because we don't need to put another layer on the actual outside lemon, right? We only need to fill in the insides of these cut pieces of citrus. So the next stamp is a set of 3. So you have that little slice, you have a round slice, and then you have it cut like in half, where the lemon's cut in half. So for this one, we're gonna use Lemon Lolly. And again, I'm just gonna put it like this. It just, to me, when you have a large stamp, it's a lot easier to bring the pad to the stamp. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna match up our pieces. So this slice and the round and this piece right here, we're going to attach those like so. We're going to make sure we hover over the top and make sure we're nice and centered, that all 3 pieces fit, because they're made to work all stamped at the same time. So once I have that in place, I will push that down. And when we lift up, there's our lemon pieces, okay? We're gonna emboss and cut these at the same time. So let me clean my stamp and we'll move on to that part. All right, let's get this in our place. We already have our die kind of locked in place here, so we're gonna hold that where it belongs. And what I like to do is I like to take my paper piece here and I like to line it up and see how I can adjust it to fit. You just have to move it, wiggle it around till it fits into your die and you can see it lined up just the way that it's supposed to be, and that is the best way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slide this down slightly. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and close that just like that. And let me grab my machine. We're going to put it through. So like I said, if you use it by itself, you're going to use it with that gray plate, just like a regular embossing folder. But we are cutting our dies, so we're going to do platform 1, plate number 2, plate number 3. Sorry guys, I'm losing my mind here. I don't know why I grabbed those. I already told you how to do the sandwich and then I'm doing it wrong. All right, so plate number 1 and plate number 4. I'm gonna put that through. You hear that little bump? All right, so when I open this, we have, see that embossed background? So if you were to do the whole sheet by itself, it would be embossed. But it cut out my pieces, and not only did it cut it, but look at these lemons, how they have this really pretty embossed textured, makes it look like real fruit. So this is how you use the hybrid. So you're going to use the 1 and the 4, and like I said, if you wanted a background, you would just put this like this without the die and crank it through, and you would get an embossed background. All right, so let's go ahead and move the Big Shot out of, I call the Big Shot, look at me calling it a Big Shot. Move the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Old habits die hard, let me tell you. So used to our Big Shot that we used to have, and even though we've had this forever, it's like ingrained in your brain. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. I wanted to show you how to make this card, but I did want to give you a quick overview of how the dies work. All right, so let's bring our card back out. So we have a base here, and our base of our card is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's a piece of basic white cardstock. We're going to score that at the 4 1/4 inch mark, which will give us our halfway point. And then we're going to go ahead and burnish our card. All right, so there's our card opening on the right. I have used the Dots and Spots die. I don't know if you guys know about that die. It's one of my favorite dies. I love it. And it pokes all these perfectly positioned circle holes into your paper. So I used a piece of basic black, and it was 5 1/4 by 4. And we are going to attach this down so that we have a white polka dot black background. So I'm going to grab my silicone mat, and I'm going to show you a really quick way to attach this down using your wet adhesive. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your edges have a decent amount, but not overkill, of wet adhesive. So I'm just barely squeezing. I just want to make sure a little bit comes out, but I don't want too much because I don't want it to ooze out of my card. And then we're going to go ahead and attach right there. Now watch this. This is the quick way. So now you're going to turn your card at an angle, and you're going to run a line of adhesive the same way you did your edge, not overkill, just a little bit, down on the angle. And when you use the angle to attach your glue, you get a nice amount of sticky, and this will hold really nicely on your card. All right, so there is all the glue that we need. We're gonna go ahead and flip this over, and we're gonna center this on our card, and we should have a little border all the way around, just like that. And then I'm gonna use my 2-inch rubber roller here that I have linked in the description below. I love this thing. I use it whenever I use my wet glue to really get it to bond nicely. So there is our background. See how pretty? We got a polka dotted background fairly fast. Now, to make our oranges, I'm going to show you the color combination that I used. I used Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie for the rind. And so what I did for my actual rind section is I inked it first in Daffodil Delight. Okay. Like so. And then with my pumpkin pie, I grabbed my blending brush, and I have a small blending brush, and this is signified for pumpkin pie. So let me grab that. And I went ahead and swirled it in there, and then I tapped on each of these rinds all the way around, so that there's some yellow, but you get a little bit of brightness and not so dark, because you know orange rinds they do have some darkness, but they're not completely dark. I'm going to grab a scrap paper here so I can show you. And that's how I did. That's how I got the rind color. Now, to fill in the centers, I went with a different color combination. So for the oranges, I went with Calypso Coral. Over the top. And then I took my pumpkin pie and I swirled it, and I added it in swirls, so you can see me mixing kind of that Calypso and the pumpkin pie together. And then after I did a nice swirl job, I just tapped it gently, and this will be a nice blood orange color, I think. And then if you want it a little bit lighter, you could do the same color combination, just do the daffodil first and then add a lot of pumpkin. So there is our orange inside. Okay, let's go ahead and clean that. And I already have the oranges cut. I just wanted to show you how to get some different color combinations and how I went about adding the different colors so that you can get some different tones. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our oranges and our flowers. I've already stamped them. The oranges were stamped. I think I did the centers in on this one in just the pumpkin pie. And the flowers were done in Calypso Coral, but I did the centers of the flowers in Flirty Flamingo. So I'm gonna dump this stuff out. I have a little container that I keep them in, make it easy for me when I'm doing my videos, and have all these pieces. So we have 3 of the small flower and 3 of the large. I'm gonna show you how the flowers work. So there's one cluster that has a large flower and 2 small ones, and then there's a large one by itself. So I put them together on one block, and then I stamped them in a row along a strip of scrap of basic white. And then when I cut them out, I got that combo and this. Then I just used a second combo of the, of the double. So that way you get quite a few very quickly. Now for the centers, you have these little dots. You have a single dot for the large flower, and then these are attached, and it's 2 dots because they match perfectly with the flowers, so that you can do 2 of them at the same time, because on this stamp you have the 2 babies, and then this lines up perfectly inside of them where they're spaced, and you can do the centers. They really did a good job of this. And then I wanted to add some extra greenery, so we are going to be using our our bow punch, and this is a really cool punch. You have this smaller piece and then this larger. So I already have one done in Calypso, and I'm going to need 2 of them in Lemon Lime Twist. So we'll get our first one going here, and I'm just going to kind of push it to the side, and hopefully I will get that first. I guess I'm gonna have to go this way, this direction first. All right, so there's that one. And we need one more, so I'm gonna turn this way, and we'll do in this direction here. I'm actually gonna flip it. You gotta do it how it'll fit. Just make it happen, but just use your same piece. If you cut strips, it makes it a lot easier to insert into your punch. So there's my second one. Okay, so now I have 2 of those, and then let's grab our scrap of Calypso, and we already have the one, so we just need the 2 smaller, this one. So we're going to do 2 of the smaller. So I'm just going to stick this in here so that I get that one. There's one. And then here's the second one. Like that. All right. So all these little extra stray pieces that pop up out of the punch, I'm just gonna toss those. And then I can use this scrap for something else. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that and then save that for another time. All right, so let's go ahead and start assembling our project. We have all of our pieces except for our words. We can go ahead and stamp that now. I have a nice little scrap of 1/2 inch basic white cardstock, and we are gonna stamp this in pumpkin pie. And I'm just going to go back and forth across my ink pad and just make sure that I have it nice and inked up and that I'm happy with my color. I think I'm good there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and stamp this. I'm gonna bring it down so I can see a little better. And I wanna line that up. I'm gonna give myself a little room on that one side, and that looks good to me. Let's go ahead and press that down. Enjoy the sweeter things in life. We're gonna clean our stamp. And then this little scrap we can use to trim it down in a minute, but I just wanted to get everything ready so we can start this assembly of our card. All right. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna figure out the placement of my oranges. So how much I want, the angle that I want them, how I want them tucked, and then I am going to start gluing them together. So the first thing I'm gonna do is see how this little end touches both of these. So I'm gonna start there. So I'm gonna put a little bit of adhesive on the 2 points of my slice, and I'm gonna turn these, and then I'm going to add that like this to my piece. So now, whoops, goodness gracious. Let's try that again. Sorry guys, you know, real life crafting here. So I'm gonna add that, there we go, to there. And I wanna put a little bit of adhesive behind this piece and get that piece to glue down right there. So now I have the 3 of them as one unit, which is what I was trying to say, which makes it a little easier. So now we're gonna add some adhesive to our leaves. We're gonna tuck one here, and we're gonna have one on the other side. So we'll put a little bit of adhesive here, and this will be tucked down like this, okay? Now, some of our greenery is gonna be tucked underneath as well. So we're gonna go ahead and put these pieces into place. So I am just gonna put adhesive on the bottom edges of my punch pieces. And we'll see, we'll angle that one like that. And then we'll put the other green one. And it looks like this one's kind of tucked underneath, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some adhesive on that so that it will be nice and secured underneath there. That looks good to me. I'm happy with that. So there's that greenery, and we have to do our Calypso coral. I'm doing all the big ones first, as you can see. Get the bigger, the better. Get those out of the way, then we can tuck the small ones in. So we'll put this one back here, like that. I want this to go in the front of that leaf. There we go. That looks pretty. All right, and then we have, oh, I forgot. We needed one small green. Sorry, I forgot to cut that one. There we go. This is Lemon Lime Twist that we used for the green one. So we're gonna have one underneath here like so. And again, we're just putting on the edges. Once we have them all attached, then we can flip them over and put our dimensionals on the back. But it really helps to have them flat temporarily and put them where we want them to be. And then from there, we can, you know, move on. So it looks like I should have glued this one first, which I didn't do. So we're just gonna put it in a different place. No one will see this card. So no one's gonna know what the other card looked like. They're just gonna see this one. So we'll just put them in different spots and make them work. All right. So here we go. This one was supposed, whoops. This one was supposed to be under that orange, but I can't do that. Oh, actually I can, look. Worked out rather well. I want that one there. All right, that's the main pieces. So let's go ahead and flip this over. And now that we have the whole thing as a unit, it's a lot easier to put our dimensionals on the back. So I gotta find them. I've lost my dimensionals. Here they are. Okay. So we're gonna start with the big ones. And I do like to overlay kind of these parts where the punches are attached so that you know that they have a little bit of extra security to hold them in place, right? So that looks good there. And then let's add some minis on the pieces that stick out, especially since I ran out of this one. And I need to grab another pack, but I don't think we'll need them for this particular project. So I'll be able to grab a pack for next time. All right, so we're gonna add the minis to the leaves because the big ones, they're just too big for that. And then I'm gonna put some minis behind these larger leaves of the bow punch because they fit nicely and it'll help give us some lift to our card. Let's see, we'll put one on this one. I think that's probably good. Maybe one more down here. Put one in the middle and then we'll put one more down on this bottom section. I think other than that, I think we have nice coverage of our leaf area. All right, so let's pull the backs off and then we can attach this whole unit as one onto our card. We're gonna take off these minis first. I'll start with the minis so that I don't lose my place of what I've pulled off and what I haven't. I'll just remember I did all the minis first and then we'll work on the big ones, the regular size. All right, so all the mini backs are off. Now we're just gonna do the large. I like to hold when I'm doing this. It helps you get more traction when you're trying to lift these pieces up. All right, I think I just have one more. Yep, everything else has been removed. So let's bring my card back in. And I don't want this sticking to my finger, so I'm gonna try and hold. All right, so we're gonna position this piece. I think I'm happy with, actually I have a little bit of paper here attached. I'm gonna remove that first so that it's not in the way. That's why I love my adhesive remover so much. It's fantastic. All right, let's try that again. Let's get it how we want our little piece to look, where we want all of our greenery to be. I think that's really pretty. All right, we'll put that down. And then we're going to figure out where we want our enjoy the sweeter things in life. That looks good to me. And we're gonna trim it off. I'm gonna put a line there so that I know where to put my trimmer. And I'm gonna use the mini guillotine. I love this thing. So we'll use that line that I made to help me figure out placement. And we're just gonna put regular wet adhesive. This is just gonna be flat. Grab my tweezers so I don't get glue on myself. All right. And we'll place this part in. I actually wanted to hold it on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna tuck that in and we're gonna make sure that that piece here doesn't cover the words and that this is covered right to the end of this polka dot, my dots and spots die. I'm gonna lift up the greenery. There we go. All right. Enjoy the sweeter things in life. That's down there. Now we're going to add our flowers. So we're going to use some mini dimensionals. I'm going to flip them over. And it looks like the two small ones aren't going to get dimensionals. They're just going to get wet adhesive. But the rest, I will put a mini dimensional on the back. And then we'll put wet adhesive on the other pieces. So let's do the ones that are lifted first. And then we'll do the last two. These are fun. This is really a fun set. I've really enjoyed creating the projects for it. So this little one that's puffed up is going to go in the middle of the 3 of them. And then we're going to add this flower down here. And then this flower is going to go in this little hole up here. And then this one is going to come down here by enjoy the sweeter things in life. That helps tie that in. And then these guys, we're just going to put a little bit of wet adhesive on one of the petals. And we're going to tuck that there. And we're going to do the other one as well. Do one on the other side, just on one of the petals. And we're going to tuck that one there. Maybe I should put mini dimensionals underneath them for support. What do you guys think? You know, you can never have too many dimensionals. That's my motto. Let me pull the backs off of them. All right, so I'm going to try and tuck those in. Let's see if I can do it. We'll put that down here on the card, and then we'll stick that flower to it. Let's try that on the other side. This one might be a little more secure since I glued it first. So we'll put that dimensional. Yeah, it'll give it something to hold on to. That was a great idea. All right, so now there we go. And then now it's time to do the inside. So on the inside of the card, I wanted to put the orange slice in there. So this is a trick. So we're gonna just go with our rind, and I only want this large circle to be inked. So I'm just going to position my stamp so that right on the end of my ink pad, so that none of the other parts get ink. Okay, so just the rind has the ink on it, just making sure. Yeah, we're good. And so we're going to go ahead and put this in the corner here. And we're going to stamp that rind right there on the inside. And then for the outside, I'm going to start with daffodil. And I'm going to ink up just that circular one. And then we're going to take our blending brush and we're going to pounce all over that daffodil with the orange, or with the pumpkin, I mean. All right, and let's close that. And let me get my cleaner out because these stamps are so large. I don't want to stick my hand in it. Let's clean that rind. And then let's do the inside. So we want to position this where we're just going to have that orange there in the center. We're going to push that down. And there's our cute little orange on the inside of our card. Let's clean. And then what I did on the first sample is I used and I just added a little bit more pumpkin pie right around the center like that. All right, so there are our projects. I hope that you enjoyed learning how to make this card. The Sweet Citrus bundle is super cute, super easy to use, and I hope that you enjoyed the lesson on blending your colors and learning also about how to die cut with the hybrid embossing folder and the dies that match it. So let's bring out again what we used. We used the citrus bundle. So there's the stamp set and the dies. And then of course, we had the cool embossing folder, right? And the bow punch, we added that. And I think that's a great addition to this set. So if you already have your bow punch, perfect. I used scraps of lemon lime twist and calypso coral for the bow punch. I used Granny Apple Green for the leaves, and I used just scraps of basic white to stamp the leaves and the flowers. And then I used a 4x4 piece of basic white to do the oranges in the center. And don't forget that the centers of these flowers were Flirty Flamingo, even though I used Calypso Coral for the flowers. And then the sentiment is done in Pumpkin Pie. I hope that you guys enjoyed this project. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I appreciate it if you subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of the project, and I will see you here next time. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!